Evening, one and all. Welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show worldwide here on the Vida television network. Glad you have tuned in. Glad you have made us part of your evening. Some changes coming to the program in 2018. You're going to notice we're going to be with you for an hour. Also, the program is pre-recorded, and we've done this to give you a little bit more of an opportunity to access the program. Now, here's how you got to do it. The show will actually air, which you're going to see here in mere moments, on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas in Houston. All you got to do is call between the hours of 7:30 in the morning until 10 o'clock in the morning and listen and weigh in on the topics that we're talking about. 281-558-5738. Then you tell your friends, you tell your family, tune in right here on the Vida television network in the evening, and you can hear your contribution to the program. Hope this is fun for you, gives you a chance to participate a little more fully in what we do here. So without further ado, it's time for the Chris Salcedo Show worldwide.
Strap yourselves in. Grab your coffee. It's time for the Chris Salcedo Show on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas.
That's good advice. Grab your coffee. You know, I'm running a little behind today. Some breaking news and whatnot. And I am starting the show. This is dangerous. Russell, this is dangerous. I am starting the show without a cup of coffee. If you start hearing snoring, you'll know what's going on. Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Salcedo Show, and I'm happy you've tuned in. You folks in the Vida television network who will be seeing this program later on this evening, you call the program, you get on television on the Vida television network. It broadcasts in South Carolina on Roku and Fire Stick. Telephone number is 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. All right, we're going to start off, since the press box precedes this program. And some of you who are sports fans and delve into politics, this will be right up your alley. Those of you who are not sports fans, but still are into politics and still what's into the pop culture, this will still be up your alley. And even you guys who are not into politics and just into sports, this will be right up your alley. There is a name that I had preferred would stay. And by the way, let me tell you who's coming up in the program today. The woman who is challenging the progressive Sarah Davis in the primary in District 134 for the State House will be on. Much more to come before she gets onto the program. Also, Congressman Michael McCaul on a border bill that he filed. I'm very curious as to what's in this border bill. Is it a duplicate? Is it a duplicate of the failed pull the wool over the American people's eyes Senate travesty of the Gang of Eight? Is that what it is? We'll ask him. You know, in light of what happened with Trump yesterday, by the way, or day before last, Donald Trump has started to walk back what was said in that meeting and focusing on the meeting itself, which I think gave us a window into what Donald Trump was doing that meeting for. And Michael Wolff was his target. The author of The Fake Trump Dossier, Part 2. So well, by the way, they're close to a deal, we hear, on Capitol Hill, according to senators. And Donald Trump's must-haves have been very clearly stated. Must-haves. He won't sign it unless he has those things in the bill. So if that's your foundation, I think many of us are going to give it a fair look. A wall, end of chain migration, end of the nonsensical lottery. All right? We'll give it a look. If it doesn't have those three elements, I don't know that you and I would support, that's not even a door opener for those who prize the rule of law, those who prize the U.S. Constitution and American sovereignty. Period. So we'll talk about all of that. And breaking news last night on Fox. You guys know Sarah Carter. She's been on the show before. Hasn't been on the show in a while. She was writing for Circa News. I think she's still with that outfit. I'm not exactly sure. But she is one of these national defense reporters, national security reporters, who's very good, has a lot of sources. Her sources, not one, not two, but three of them. Three sources have now confirmed the fake Trump dossier Part 1, paid for by Hillary Clinton, paid for by the Democrat National Committee to Russians, for dirt on Donald Trump. That fake document, which everybody knew was a fake document in the Obama administration, was used as a false predicate to spy on Americans illegally. That's what she has. She has it confirmed that it was the basis for the FISA warrant to spy on Americans illegally. Now, this is what passes for a Democrat. If I need to kneecap somebody politically, I'm going to use and abuse our intelligence agencies, which Americans used to universally trust. We're going to destroy that trust because what's really important is that we Democrats stay in elected office, not the fact that we have faith in our intelligence officials. So all of this stuff is coming up today, but we're starting out with LaVar Ball. LaVar Ball. Now, here's why you guys in politics, you guys in sports, and you guys who are on both toes or one toe in each pond, why you're going to care about this. LaVar Ball is the father of three boys. One of them plays for the Lakers. Is it Lonzo Ball? The other one played for UCLA. And the team, the college team, was over in China playing some basketball. Just so happens when Donald Trump, the president of the United States, was over there talking to President Xi Jinping about doing something about North Korea and other things. And the middle child Ball, what was his name? It's some kind of, is it Le'Veon? It's Le'Veon, isn't it? Russell? Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, from Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon. Okay, no. Okay, who's LaVar Ball's son that played for UCLA?
About Lonzo Ball?
No, Lonzo Ball plays for the Lakers, right? Okay. Their names
his kid's name's drawn as
I know. I'm drawing a blank on the kids' names, and they're not germane to the conversation, really. Other than the fact, I want you to know that LaVar Ball, who was the father, the big mouth father, he raised a thief who was over in China. His college kid who had prospects in the NBA got caught with two other players stealing and were thrown in a Chinese jail. Donald Trump intervened on their behalf. He didn't have to. There was nothing requiring. He intervened on their behalf. They came home, and Xi Jinping and the Chinese government were saying, we're releasing you, and it's only because your president advocated for you. That's the only reason. Otherwise, LaVar Ball's son, his thief son, would be rotting in a Chinese jail as we speak today in 2018. He'd still be there. So, because, the Chinese would get one look at LaVar Ball and listen to his big fat mouth, and they'd say, you know what, we're just going to keep your kid here because there's nothing you can do about it, just because you have a big fat mouth. So when LaVar Ball's son came home, the three players, after some prompting from the president, thanked him for getting them out of jail in China because they were stupid enough to steal in a foreign country. So after that happened, a couple of days later, LaVar Ball gets onto television in the sports TV world and says, I'm going to paraphrase rather arrogantly, I don't think Donald Trump did anything for my son. I don't think he did anything. And people are shaking their heads going, are you out of your mind? You can't steal as an American you can't steal, period, over in China and get away with it. Everybody knew the only reason why the kids got a get out of Chinese prison free card was because of President Donald Trump. Everybody knew it. But here's this loudmouth, arrogant fool jumping up and down on television and saying, President Trump's not all that. He didn't do anything. So then immediately the basket of bias press loves him. And the sports press, they start putting him on TV shows and they start interviewing him because, hey, he bashed Trump. Problem is, they created a monster. And LaVar Ball, whose really only claim to professional sports is the fact that he has fathered three kids who show some ability, right? I don't. Did he? I don't know this about him, and because I really have until yesterday. I haven't paid much more attention to LaVar Ball. I was hoping he'd stay in 2017. Do you know if he played any college ball or anything like that, Russell?
No.
No, he didn't. So basically, all you guys know the father. You know the type, Russell, and you probably in your coaching. For those of you guys who don't know, that Russell Sherrill is a coach. You do football and baseball, don't you?
I do.
Have you run into those parents where the fathers didn't achieve much in their youth and they're living vicariously through the natural athletic ability of their kids?
I have seen some other coaches that at this level, we're talking, at 7, 8 year olds and now 9. Luke is now 9, so in 7, 8-year-olds where they're winning it all, trying to win at all cost.
Oh yeah. So I've had plenty of experience with these types of fathers anyway. So LaVar Ball is being invited onto these sports shows, and he's commenting now. Now for all of you folks who understand the political background, now all of a sudden they're bringing him on TV shows, and he's blasting Lonzo Ball, his son, who plays for the Lakers. He's blasting the ownership of the Lakers.
He's criticized the head coach.
Saying
that he doesn't know how to coach my son.
Oh, good grief.
He has used those exact words.
Doesn't know how to coach my son.
Coach Walton does not know how to coach my son.
The great Coach Walton.
Well, his son of the great, yes.
Yeah.
Luke Walton.
Yeah, Luke Walton. So he played in the NBA, though, didn't he? If I remember correctly.
Luke Walton did play a little bit in the NBA.
Yeah. So, and LaVar Ball never has. But LaVar Ball is given weight and credence. So all of a sudden you've got the left-wing sports media like ESPN. They're putting this joker on because, hey, he likes to bash Trump, so we love him. And we're going to elevate him, and he starts talking out of his rear end like he knows what's going on. And, of course, he's centered not on the team, but only on his son. Only on his son. Now, this is not the son who was caught stealing in China. The son caught stealing in China, who knows what his prospects are now. But the son who's playing for the Lakers, and all of a sudden, former players and coaches are starting to blast the press, the sports press, and blast LaVar Ball saying, who the heck is this guy? What do you mean? What I heard, and Russell, I forgot who made this recommendation. It was somebody that once, you probably know the name because it was a really famous basketball player. But he jumped on to ESPN. It was either on radio or TV. And he said the Lakers should trade Lonzo Ball to get LaVar Ball out of their life because LaVar Ball is not helping the Lakers. He should. So this father is now inspiring open calls for his son to be traded off of one of the premier franchises in the NBA.
That's hilarious.
And now the coaches and the pro players and the guys who really know what they're talking about in the NBA are saying Lonzo Ball, this loudmouth father's son, should pay the price. Just get rid of the son. Trade him away. Make him somebody else's. Now, what stories have you heard about LaVar Ball?
Nothing good.
Nothing good? Yeah, I mean.
Nothing good at all. I mean, the guy's just a pain in the you-know-what.
Yeah.
And that's all. He's built a big brand. He's obviously made a lot of money. He's got 3 kids that all one day could be playing in the NBA. Well, actually, maybe not one of them, but kids are playing in the NBA. And at the end of the day, his son with the Lakers, he just needs to just distance himself from his father. If he wants to have a good career in the NBA, he needs to just come out and just separate himself from his dad.
How do you do that? I mean, especially,
I don't know, but you got to
especially if you love your pop, you know what I mean?
Either that or you need to go behind closed doors and tell your dad, just shut the you-know-what up.
You know what? He strikes me as the kind of domineering kind of dad. Do you guys remember the story about the Jackson 5? You remember? Did you ever see that movie when Michael Jackson's youth? Did you ever see that movie, Russell?
I didn't.
Well, Joe Jackson was the father of the Jackson 5, the boys. And he has the same type of mentality we see in LaVar Ball. He couldn't make it. He played music, just like I'm sure LaVar Ball in his youth played basketball. But he wasn't ever good enough to get signed with anybody. So he gets his sons really, really good. They practice, they hone their act, and driving them the entire time to stardom. To be fair, stardom was Joe Jackson, but he was abusive. He was domineering. He had it was all about him living his dream through his kids. And I think that's what we're seeing with LaVar Ball. Here's a guy who couldn't do it, who was never good enough to even coach because nobody in the NBA would entertain him being on the court. His son achieves, maybe because of his pushing and prompting, and maybe, I'm only speculating because I know the personality, maybe an abusive, unhealthy type attitude toward achievement. And this is the dynamic we're seeing. But I've got to tell you that I think that this guy's 15 minutes of fame was up a long time ago. But you know what? And this will go to show you, folks, the left-wing press. You bash Trump, you bash a conservative, you bash a Republican, they're going to make you famous. Because there's always a consequence, isn't there? Now this monster they've created is causing problems in the very industry that the so-called unbiased sports press is supposed to be covering. I found this story so fascinating. A guy whose 15 minutes was up about 25 minutes ago, LaVar Ball, and he's still hanging around, goes to show you. Has-been liberals, they stick around. They take care of themselves. All right, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. We'll delve back into politics coming up next. Chris Salcedo Show here on The Voice. All right, I've got the coffee. I'm all good now. Welcome. Hour 2 is underway. The Chris Salcedo Show. Right here on the Voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV. I am your host, Chris Salcedo, your liberty-loving Latino. 281-558-5738 is the number, and the website, again. If you want to check out all things Salcedo Show, all things KSEV, go to ksevradio.com/Chris Salcedo. ksevradio.com/CHRIS. SALCEDO. You can find Facebook, Twitter links there. You can find email and plenty of ways to get in touch with us. As a matter of fact, you guys who are here on the program for an hour a day, we take portions of this program and we televise it on the Vida television network. So if you get on the air and you lend your wisdom and you contribute to the program, you may very well be able to tell your family, hey, I'm going to be on TV tonight, across the country at Roku and Fire Stick, and broadcast in South Carolina on live broadcast. All right. Do I have a phone call waiting? My screen just disappeared. There it is. Hey, Fred, welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show. Glad you made it.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey.
The reason I called, I'm looking at your says report Mitch McConnell mulling abandoning any passage of any GOP budget in 2018. So what that makes me want, and that would kill any kind of progress on the Trump agenda. So what I'm wondering is, first they say give us Congress, then it's give us Congress in the White House, and now evidently it's Congress in the White House and 60 votes, which is never going to happen. So my question is,
well, it has happened, but I understand what your broader point
rare.
is. Yeah.
What is the Republican Party good for? And to me, all I see is it's reminding me of like the. I was thinking about it. All I could think of was like the band on the Titanic.
Well, look,
we're having all kinds of problems, and they're just.
I understand we're not getting everything that we want, and I'm elated about tax reform. I'm elated about Judge Gorsuch. I'm elated about having a president in the White House who is, what is it? For every one regulation that is adopted, 22 are stricken from the books, which I'm very happy about that. Now, look. What you're talking about is a fundamental problem, which will I'm not being rhetorical here. What you're talking about, Fred, is a problem that will destroy the United States of America. It is overspending. It is massive indebtedness. that we are on the precipice of not being able to even pay the interest on our national debt. And there is no one in Washington, D.C. who's serious about getting that under control. I was at least in leadership currently on the Senate side. Mitch McConnell, when I hear Mitch McConnell, I'm going to abandon budgeting. Well, what do you mean abandon budgeting? Nobody's been budgeting, and that's been part of the problem. What do you mean abandon it? Nobody's been doing what they're supposed to do. Nobody's been doing what they're constitutionally mandated to do up there, in particular in the Senate, for many, many moons, even under Democrat, well, especially under Democrat control. So, Fred, I was in a conversation just yesterday with an office that is talking about you. Remember I told you the story about bringing back earmarks? Did you hear that story?
Yeah.
Yeah. And who was talking about it? Trump. Trump was, the Republicans were. And many in the conservative movement, you and me, we lost our minds. What are you talking about? We're at incredibly high deficit spending. What do you mean you're going to bring back pork barrel spending? Well, I have it on authority that this open meeting that they're going to be having is to basically decide on a way forward that does not include earmarking. They want to bring up earmarking as the poster child as to what not to do to elevate. See, I'm interested, you're interested, to elevate this idea that we've got to start doing something about the spending. So apparently they heard us. You know, we had Kevin Brady on this program several times during the tax debate, and Senator Cruz, our last interview before the new year. And we said, Senator Cruz, you know that all the reform in the world means nothing without tax reform, I should say. And the world means nothing if you don't get federal spending under control. And he agreed. So they know it's a danger. They know it's a threat to the country. And I have assurances that steps are being taken to rectify it. That's all I can say.
Well, I sure hope so, because kicking the can just makes the problem worse, and you don't want to get to the point where all of a sudden one day you got to start telling people, guess what? Your Social Security program has gone broke. There's no money.
Well,
you know me. That's where we're heading, and just waiting isn't it's not going to help. I'm not a fan
of Social Security because I'm not a fan of the government holding on to my money, interest free. I'm not a fan of that, or virtually interest free. Did you know that, because I've written about this extensively, Social Security. Did you know that for minorities like me, that there's a negative rate of return on Social Security? Negative rate of return. Did you know that? That Social Security is the biggest racist, massive government entitlement program that's out there. It's incredibly racist because if you have a lower life expectancy, as a lot of minorities do, that you get a negative rate of return on your money when you start pulling it out.
The point I was making is really that we're going to not going to have money even to pay interest on the debt.
I know.
All the entitlement programs, it all goes.
Yeah, I know.
And meanwhile, nothing's being done.
Can you operate in your house without a budget? No. Can you operate in your community without a budget? Your town, your state? No, of course not. The federal government, even though it doesn't want to admit it, it is still under those same economic constraints, those same economic principles. And these fools who have been running Washington for the last 20, 30 years have us on the precipice of going beyond the point of no return. And then Mitch McConnell gets up there. You know what else he's not doing? He's not going to tackle entitlement reform, which is the main drivers of that debt. He doesn't want to do anything on it. And neither does Trump, to be honest. Trump doesn't want to do anything on entitlement either. So it's, I guess, baby steps. I think Trump is going to try to put some down payments on all of this with massive growth that's expected as a result of tax reform. And there is a lot of, they're talking 3.5%, 4% minimum for this year's GDP. And we'll see. Fred, thank you very much, man, for the call. I appreciate it. 281-558-5738. 281-558-KSEV. Hey, Mike. Welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show. What's up?
Good morning. I think Bill de Blasio has set up a beautiful scenario about oil companies. He's taking on 4 or 5 of the largest oil companies and telling them that they're going to have to pay for climate change. So what I would do is...
Well, wait a minute. How's he doing that? How's he doing that with taxes?
No, he didn't say. That's not necessary. The main thing is climate change and perceived destruction and so forth. So what I would like to see happen is the fuel needs for Manhattan and at least the two airports there, that those fuels not be given to them because they cause, with all the jet stuff coming out, all this pollution and so forth. Of course, it'll cut into the Davros people on their fancy jets going to Europe.
Yeah.
But then also present him with a lump of coal and a bow on it.
Okay.
Here's your supply.
Hold on, Mike. Let's game this out, you and me. If de Blasio follows through on this threat, what can he do? He can raise taxes, right? That's all he can do. He can go to that leftist city council of his, and he can raise taxes on petroleum products. Okay, he can do that.
Well, see, he named companies, so he's going after the companies, not just the product.
Right. Well, sure. I mean, he can target. You can raise taxes in a municipality if you have the votes. Let's just throw it Exxon. Let's tax Exxon an extra 25 cents for whatever, or maybe even a lump sum of money just to operate in the city of New York. By the way, folks, Bill de Blasio is the communist mayor of New York. Yes. So what Exxon could do is raise their prices to make up for the tax and pay the tax, because it would just translate and harm New Yorkers. And they can make a big show of that. You know where we have evidence of this, Mike? Is Seattle. Have you seen the cost of soda pop in Seattle? That Costco is so ticked off at Seattle. You know what they've done? They've broken out the pricing. They show the total price. They show the actual cost that Costco would charge. And then they show the tax from the state. And do you know the tax on I think it was a 6-pack of Gatorade? You know what the tax on a 6-pack of Gatorade is?
I have no idea.
Over $10. Over 10. That's the tax. And I think the cost of it that Costco was going to sell it was for $11. So it's almost a 50% tax.
But you see, the Microsoft people and the
they'll pay
Googles, they can afford it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, but the rank and file, and so the rank and file folks who like their Gatorade, they're going to say, well, wait a minute, why am I buying my Gatorade here in the city of Seattle? I think I'm going to leave, or Costco, or I am all for the states doing this stuff. So in short, I think Bill de Blasio should have the freedom to do this and drive more people, more of their tax base out of New York and right here to Texas. Right here, out of Seattle, right here to Texas. Because that's what we call the free market. And these liberals ought to be made, Mike, to have these taxes that they are raising noosed around their neck, figuratively speaking. By the way, did you hear? There was a Washington Post article the other day. Because these high-tax states are targeted in the tax reform as now having to pay their fair share, they won't be able to deduct their income tax in those states. You know what they're trying to do? They're trying to designate, like in places like New York or California, they're trying to designate their income tax as a charitable donation so they can write it off. I kid you not. They don't see when liberals have to start paying their fair share, folks. They don't like it very much. Back in a minute, the Chris Salcedo Show on the Voice of Texas. It's the Voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV. Keep in mind, folks, when you come on the show, you likely will be on TV, on the Vida television network across the country, on Roku and Fire Stick, and broadcast in South Carolina, the Vida, V-I-D-A television network. You come on and give your 2 cents. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Congressman Michael McCaul chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee. He's got an immigration bill up. And that immigration bill, I am very curious about what's in it. Meantime, Sarah Carter jumps on Fox News yesterday and breaks this story. Now, this has been key. She's doing this on the set. It was Hannity's program. On the set with Jim Jordan and the chairman of the Freedom Caucus, whose name just flew out of my head, Mark Meadows. She's saying this in front of them. And what these gentlemen basically said after she said what you guys are about to hear, she said, we're going to take this to our leadership and tell them to stop the Democrats stonewalling on this. Here's what I believe is happening, folks. This is why I believe Dianne Feinstein is out there unilaterally, without permission, releasing the testimony of the Fusion GPS characters. This is why you've got Adam Schiff out there muddying the waters, is that these Democrats know about the illegality of the previous administration and the elected Democrats who helped them pull this off, who had full knowledge of the illegality and the abuse of our intelligence agencies for political purposes, and they know where the bones are buried. Feinstein knows. Schiff knows. And so their job is to protect their political party, not to get to the truth, not to restore integrity to the Department of Justice and the FBI. No. They're there to protect Democrats. And you guys know what I've been saying, is that the reason why we get all this fake outrage over alleged Trump-Russia collusion is that the Democrats themselves are guilty of this. Donald Trump has said it and is saying it with increasing regularity. I've been saying it for months. Here's Sarah Carter.
I have spoken to a number of sources, one senior law enforcement official and another in the DOJ, and the dossier was absolutely used as part of the FBI's ability to gain a warrant to basically spy on members of the Trump campaign.
Okay. So you notice she has multiple sources, which puts her above ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN, who just jumped on with, and it's being alleged now that Peter Strzok, the FBI agent who had a contingency plan for Donald Trump's election, who was conspiring in Andrew McCabe's office, the deputy assistant director of the FBI, and his tart, not McCabe's tart. McCabe is married to a Democrat backed by Hillary Clinton's consigliere, Terry McAuliffe, in Virginia. But Peter Strzok's tart, a woman that he was cheating with on his wife, they were texting back and forth about how to thwart a Trump presidency with a contingency plan. These individuals are the ones it has been now speculating, and now Congress is investigating if these are the sources used by the Washington Post and the New York Times and all the other basket of biased players. Peter Strzok or however you pronounce his name, I don't care, other than the fact that he abused his office and violated his duty to this country in trying to thwart the choice of the American people for president. So Sarah Carter already head and shoulders with multiple sources above reporting at ABC, NBC, CBS, Brian Ross, who I still think is he still on suspension? Just curious.
So this was definitely used as evidence. It was part and partial to other evidence, I believe, that they were trying to collect, but the dossier was definitely used. And what's concerning here is the fact that we know, coming from the mouths of senior members of the FBI who testified, both Comey and McCabe, that the only part of the dossier that they were able to confirm that was actually factual was that Carter Page had actually traveled to Moscow. Everything else in the dossier, apparently they did not talk talk about that, they did not confirm it's unsubstantiated, or they found out to be false. So this is very alarming, and I think that there are a number of sources that are alarmed about this, particularly people within law enforcement who are concerned that they were using this dossier to find a way to look into the Trump campaign.
When she talks about other folks in law enforcement, she's talking about rank and file CIA, FBI folks who saw what their leadership was doing. You guys heard what she said. The James Comey, Clapper, Brennan, they all knew that the fake Trump dossier was a pile of excrement. They knew it. And they said, hey, Obama, why don't we just pretend it's real? That way, we can use this as a pretense to spy on the Trump campaign so we can undermine his presidency. This is the conspiracy. Meanwhile, we have to trace back where the dossier came from. The dossier was paid for. Money changed hands. The Democrat National Committee, the Hillary Clinton campaign, paid Russians through Fusion GPS for this information. That's illegal. That's a felony. So Hillary Clinton commissions this fake dossier. The DNC commissions this fake dossier. John McCain, and as the representative of the Republicans, takes the dossier. The Clintons take the dossier. The DNC take the dossier, and they give it to Obama. Say, this is what we need, just in case. Just in case. To undermine Donald Trump, in case he wins. But it's fake. Now, if there was anybody with a conscience in the room, and Democrats don't, but elected Democrats don't. But if there's anybody with a conscience in the room, they say, wait a minute, this is garbage, this is trash. We all know it's trash. We all know none of this is true. You're not getting into the spirit of the meeting. We're going to pretend it's true so we can undermine the Trump campaign and have this be our ace in the hole in case he wins. So we can undermine him and impeach him. The question is, how many elected Democrats knew about this? I think Dianne Feinstein knows. I think Adam Schiff knows. I think, well, they wouldn't trust Sheila Jackson Lee with this information. I'm sorry. Sheila Jackson Lee doesn't know. Now, she would have gone, don't get me wrong, Sheila Jackson Lee has the integrity. She would have gone along with it. Trust me, she just couldn't keep the secret. That Democrats kept this pretty close to their inner circles, and even that. The problem is that there were rank and file FBI people who dedicated their lives to serving this country and justice. They knew it too. Couldn't keep it from the rank and file FBI. That's what they do for a living. Or the rank and file CIA. It's what they do for a living. So they knew. And I believe high-ranking Democrats are in this up to their eyeballs. Elijah Cummings, I think he knows. I think he knows. And they had no compunction about trumping up, pardon the pun, trumping up fake intelligence as a predicate to spy on Americans illegally. This is the modern-day Democrat Party, ladies and gentlemen. As I told you, Barack Obama did many deplorable, yes, I use the descriptor on purpose, many deplorable things. Chief among them is he turned the apparatus and the Leviathan of the state, not against our enemies and our adversaries, but against we, the people, against American citizens. That's how Democrats look at government. We must use the power of government to control the people. So this is a big deal. The fact that the Democrat Party is so corrupt that they were able to infiltrate the Federal Bureau of Investigation, infiltrate the CIA, install left-wing zealots, Brennan, Comey. They corrupted Comey, Clapper, and it was all of this Democrat / never Trump cabal that said, "Oh, it's permissible. The people just made the wrong choice, so we're gonna correct it for them." That's dangerous. That's incredibly dangerous. When Andrew McCabe, James Comey, Bob Mueller, Peter Schiff, Dianne Feinstein, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, the Democrat National Committee think they know better than the American people as to who should lead this country. It's dangerous. Coming up next, Congressman Michael McCaul. He has introduced an immigration bill, folks. I want you guys to know about it. I'm kind of curious about it myself. Coming up, the Chris Salcedo Show on the Voice of Texas. We have made a connection with Congressman Michael McCaul, 10th District in the great state of Texas. Congressman McCaul is the chairman of the House Committee on Homeland Security, the author of the new book, Failures of Imagination, the Deadliest Threats to Our Homeland and How to Thwart Them. Congressman, welcome back and Happy New Year, the Chris Salcedo Show.
Hey, good morning. Happy New Year to you and your listeners.
All right, sir, let's talk about a bill that you introduced. You and Chairman Goodlatte and McSally in Labrador teamed up to introduce a bill on immigration. Give us the 411 on what this bill does.
Well, it's really the conservative approach to both border security and interior enforcement. You know, for too long we haven't had this done. As you know, there are discussions about what to do about DACA. We're not going to go down that road if conservatives don't get what we want, and that is a secure border. So my border security bill I passed out of committee is in this bill. It includes many things, including the construction of the wall that the president has asked for. It also includes ending chain migration, which we talked a lot about chain migration, where relatives upon relatives can bring in people into this country. We keep that to just the immediate family. And then, this lottery system, Chris, it really makes no sense at all. It's a random lottery system. We're not bringing in the best and the brightest into this country. We're just randomly bringing people into this country. We do away with that system as well. And, if you look at the New York, the last two terror attacks that occurred in New York, one on Halloween where the guy in the vehicle ran over all these people, and then last December we had a suicide bomber. They came in through these failed immigration policies, that being chain migration and the lottery system. And so we think to protect Americans and really to fix our broken immigration system, that these are issues that really need to be addressed. In addition, Chris, sanctuary cities. For too long we've seen what happened to Kate Steinle, people who've been deported, come back, multiple convictions, and then killing people in the United States. The threat of MS-13, drug trafficking, all this stuff. I think we finally have this opportunity. I was in the White House with the president at that really historic meeting that you probably saw. It was broadcasted on live television for about an hour of these negotiations, which I thought was really quite amazing to have that televised live. As you saw, the senators, and I was in the room talking as well, negotiating this whole issue.
Yeah. Oh, let me ask you about that. Everything, it sounds pretty good on the surface. So let's dig down a little bit. The sanctuary cities component of this bill, will this bill make it illegal for, and let's just say what it is, Democrats, because there is no Republican in elected office that I am aware of who allows illegal alien felons back on the streets the way Sanctuary City Sally does in Travis County back here in Texas, or the way, or rolls out the welcome mat for so many sanctuary cities for illegal alien felons all over this country? Does it punish Democrats who make their cities sanctuaries for illegal aliens and illegal alien felons by either removal from office or jail time for themselves?
Well, we don't remove anybody from office. What we do is simply, with the power of the purse that Congress has, we cut all their funding off.
Oh, well.
And so it's a big stick that we have to. If you don't abide with federal law enforcement and comply with ICE detainers, I was a federal prosecutor. I never had any problems with local authorities complying with federal immigration law, but maybe that was a decade ago. To me, it's absurd that they're not complying with federal law enforcement, and so we essentially use the power of the purse to cut their funding off completely.
Well, that makes sense. And now, would you guys
if you're not going to comply with federal law, you're not entitled to federal funding.
Sure.
The bottom line.
No, sure.
Yeah.
I get that. So you would leave it up to the states to come up with penalties in their legislatures for their local Democrats who don't follow the law.
Which is what the state of Texas has
Right.
done. And, the thing is, California now is not just a sanctuary city. California is a sanctuary state.
I know.
It is. I think this is it's very bold. Breitbart did a very good write-up on this bill, and very supportive. We had a Wall Street Journal op-ed that just came out. And I'm hopeful. I think always a problem, Chris, is going to be the Senate. And how much they're going to placate, Schumer. And go through this process.
We got to make a bumper sticker out of that, Congressman. Always the problem, the United States Senate. You know what? You actually took me right where I wanted to go. By the way, Congressman Michael McCaul, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, District 10 here in the great state of Texas, is my guest right now. Americans are pretty leery because we've been down this road of so-called comprehensive immigration reform. And I tell my listeners, whenever you hear this phrase, comprehensive immigration reform, just think Obamacare for the border. It's so huge that basically, and this is what the Senate bill was a couple of years back with that Gang of Eight. Basically what they did is they front-loaded all the goodies and the benefits for illegal aliens, and then they left optional the requested beef up of national security, fencing, and the addition of Border Patrol agents. Let me ask you this about your bill. Many of we conservatives viewed the bipartisan John McCain, Chuck Toomer Gang of Eight bill. I call him Chuck Toomer, Congressman, because he's a big advocate for the cancer that is Obamacare. That's why I call him that.
That's good.
So anyway, so we viewed that as a Trojan horse, which was going to be a big pulling the wool over the eyes of the American people, where the illegal aliens got all of their goodies, all of the amnesty, and then the enforcement never materialized. How is your bill different?
Well, our bill, and it's not comprehensive, and we're not doing that. And I think the president misspoke when he mentioned that at the press conference.
I hope he did.
Oh my God! Well, we reminded him that that's not the language you need to be using.
Yes, that's a good idea.
This is not a comprehensive. This is a enforcement bill, and I agree with you. I think one of the great, I admire Ronald Reagan probably more than any president, but I think one of the greatest mistakes in his administration was when he granted the amnesty, they didn't appropriate the money to enforce, the laws, and now we're stuck with 20 million people, and what do you do with them? So what we're trying to do is avoid a future DACA, a future, 15 million people. And how do you do that? You construct the wall. You put technology down there. We authorized $30 billion to go down to the southern border to get this thing done. In addition, though, I think importantly, Chris, is that, the laws need to be changed so that people are removed immediately. You don't have catch and release where they catch, Border Patrol tells me, look, we can apprehend them, but then we have to put them through the process, and then we can't remove them from the country. So we also create what I call a legal wall where legally they get expedited removal out of the country, regardless of what country they come from, regardless of what age they are. And so those are all really important things that need to be, in this, that are in the bill. Judiciary did the interior enforcement piece. I did the border piece. And those two pieces together should ensure that we don't have to be talking about this issue 10 years down the road.
Well,
that's what we're trying to prevent.
From your lips to God's ears.
Cycle.
Yeah, I just hope we can get past the United States Senate, and that's going to be the big heavy lift. Congressman
Well,
Michael,
that's my fear too. I fear not only that, but I don't know. We're chairman, and Good Light Night produced a. Some said, well, why don't you produce a bill where you can get Democrats, and we said, we're going to produce a conservative Republican border interior enforcement bill. If some Democrats want to sign on to this, great. But we think
good luck.
That we can get to 218 with the Republican. Let's make this a Republican bill.
Yeah.
And get to 218 to pass out of the House with Republicans. And if some Dems want to get on, great. And I have had people like Tom Cotton tell me, thank you for doing this bill because it gives us so much leverage in the Senate. Because now we can point to what you're doing in the House.
Nice.
And push that in the Senate. So
well,
we're really, I think, doing the Tom Cottons and the Senator Purdue's a great service here by giving them leverage when they negotiate with that.
Well, keep us posted on how this bill goes. But again, Steny Hoyer had to remind everybody that Democrats are really pro security, which of course, when you have to remind people of that it's not true. I wouldn't count on any Democrats coming through. Congressman Michael McCaul, everybody, 10th District here in the great state of Texas. Sir, it's always a pleasure talking with you again. Happy New Year.
Hey, you too, Chris. Thanks always for having me as well.
You betcha, sir. 281-558-5738. 281-558-KSEV. That is the phone number to the radio show, AM 700 KSEV, and the Chris Salcedo Show. Hey, Mike, thanks for holding. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, Chris. It's Dr. Mike. How are you?
Hey, man. What do you think about what you just heard?
Well, I appreciate Congressman McCaul. There's a couple things I want to point out. One is I totally agree, and he brought up Reagan. And again, it's with the Democrats. Who are you going to trust, us or your lying eyes? They promised Reagan, oh yeah, give us the amnesty, and then we'll fix all the other.
Yep.
And of course, we know how that worked out.
Well, wait a minute. Feinstein tried to pull that noise in that open meeting the other day, trying to call for a clean DACA bill. She tried to pull the same garbage. And you know what? I got to say that Ronald Reagan, one of the laments in his memoirs that he outlined was trusting the Democrats on the amnesty bill. He said that was one of his greatest regrets.
Sure, and fool me twice, shame on me. So the Republicans, if they fall for this again, it's to their own peril.
I agree.
So let me say this. I agree with everything said, chain migration, the whole bit. Chris, there's one thing that nobody's been talking about, and it's driving me nuts, and that is the 14th Amendment and the fact that, and you and I are both from San Diego. I've both been there. I lived there for many years. How many people did you hear about that would come over the border, go to a hospital 9 months pregnant, have a baby so it could be an American citizen,
right,
to start this chain migration? So, yes, the chain migration issue for those who are here is certainly one thing, but we have to get some sort of legislative definition of what an American citizen means and what being born in the United States and under the jurisdiction of the United States means.
Well, you and I both know, Mike.
Conservatives, we know it means that your parents, at least one of your parents, is an American citizen.
Well, that's never been the 14th Amendment's never been adjudicated. You know that? It's never been up before the Supreme Court. This whole birthright citizenship has never been ruled on by the United States Supreme Court. It's just been an assumption. It's never been ruled on. Hey, buddy, thank you for the call. I appreciate it as always. Martha, you're up next on the Chris Salcedo Show. Welcome.
Thank you. I just called also for the DACA situation, and my option it is to give them, the Dreamers, the option to residents, the permanent residents, without the option to become American citizens, and only give them the residence if they have not been using welfare, if they have been using I'm sorry.
No. It's all right. No government assistance. In other words,
yes,
I think no.
Yes,
First off, Martha, can I ask you? Are you a Latina?
Yes.
Okay. So, folks, you've got a Latina and a Latino talking about here, so we can remove the whole racism idiocy that all you liberals are already getting through your head.
Yes.
What Martha is talking about is, and I think that once we secure the border, Martha, that we can start talking about what to do with the folks who are already here. This means the dreamers. This means the illegal aliens, 20, 25 million who are here. And then we can start parsing out which groups we want to keep and which groups we don't. If you have a felony on your record, we don't want to keep you. So we will send you out, and with a secure border, you're not going to get back in. So that's automatic. If you are a dreamer and you're not on government assistance of any kind, that should be a positive check in your column. If you're serving in the military, a positive check in your column. If you're some municipalities allow illegal aliens to be police officers, believe it or not, or lawyers, believe it or not. If you're a member in good standing of your community and you are brought here too young to make the choice, then I think many common sense Americans would allow for you to stay. Now, what to do with the other millions of illegal aliens who are just here to work and send money back to their home country, we're going to have to enroll them, in my view, Martha, in a modern day bracero program so that we can tax that money that's going back, so that that money they're earning here can also do some benefits here, not just in their home country. You agree?
Yes, but my option it is not give them the citizenship.
No, yes, residency. You're right.
You are going to be a permanent resident.
You are
without an option of American citizen.
You're right. Residency only, but no. But I got to go. The music's playing. Residency only, but no citizenship unless you want to leave, and then do it the right way. That's going to do it for the Chris Salcedo Show, folks. It is a Russell Sherrill production. Remember, Houston, society's worth isn't measured by how much power is seized by government, but rather how much power is reserved for we the people. Catch you next time. Tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning after the press box, AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. And that's going to do it for the Chris Salcedo Show worldwide for this evening on the Vida Television Network. Weigh in anytime on the program on Twitter at Chris Salcedo TX. And you can leave voicemail or email at chrissalcedo.com. We'll see you next time for the Chris Salcedo Show worldwide here on the Vida Television Network.